What does the summer sound like? For me, it sounds like kids screaming in excitement. It sounds like water on the shore. It sounds like ice cream. And that was my inspiration for this month's theme. So if you're here with me, thank you for being here. This is my July theme in my bullet journal. For this setup, I'm mostly just going to be using my Tombos, and boy do I use a lot of different colors. So ice cream comes in a whole lot of different colors, especially if you're doing a lot of different flavors. So that's why I'm going to be using literally like maybe a good third of all the colors in the Tombow collection. So if you don't have any, go get some, but honestly this can probably be done with like Crayola Super Tips. I know a lot of people use those. I just know that I already have the collection, so it didn't make sense for me to go out and get something different. And the wonderful thing about ice cream is that you can make it look like anything. You could have some off the wall color like purple, and it could just be a sherbet if you want, or this mint. This cover page has more elements to it than I normally do, and I like that for me. It was a stretch, but this one, like I had to do a lot of pre-planning, I had to do a lot of drawing, I had to figure out a lot of stuff just to be able to draw this. And again, I'm not like an artist by birth. I'm an artist by trade at this point. I just like doing it, and I want to keep getting better at it. So when it came to this, I kind of just thought about all the memories I had of ice cream shops and ice cream with my dad when I was a kid, and I kind of came up with this. Like these snow cones, we never had these cones when I was a kid, the dipped ones, but I do remember seeing them at like different ice cream parlors. But this bowl, we did have a bowl very similar to this. I don't think it was this deep, but to me as a kid it probably felt like it was this deep. Probably never would have been able to get this many scoops in there at one time, but hey, this is my imagination and it doesn't have to make sense. Now we're going over to my quote page. So my quote for this month was something that I kind of came up with on my own, and is, "You don't get to enjoy the bounty of my harvest while casting shadows on my seed." And this is kind of inspired by a little bit of stuff that's been going on with me in my personal life. For me, I journal for, to kind of remember all the good times and stuff like that. But sometimes there is space for me to remember things that piss me off. And that's kind of where this quote comes from. Once I colored in all of the ice creams, I thought that it kind of just needed a little bit more definition. So I'm going to draw in my ice cream bowl, and I'm going to trace around everything else. And I think that did a lot to make this a little bit more complete. Sometimes I think that just the drawing or the pencil drawing is going to be enough, because I think that the black lines could be a little too harsh. And like things in real life don't have black lines, but I'm also not that great of an artist to make things like defined. This just looked better in my eye, and I'm gonna roll with it. The rest of my setup for this month is very simple. I put all of my effort into the cover page this month, and I'm fine with it. I like it. Most of the stuff for the rest of the setup had been drawn with June in mind. So keep that in mind once we get over into the calendar, because as you can see, I already penciled out the June calendar, and I was just in auto mode once it was time to do this for July. I kind of started off numbering this incorrectly, and then I didn't even draw a good number of boxes, but this is art and this is my journal, so I'm not going to go back and I'm freaking out about how to fix this or try to do a whole bunch of like crazy stuff to fix it. Again, you just roll with it, because that's life. You just keep going and make the situation better. So you're going to see where I messed up in a good hot second, but until we get there, something that I like about the month of July is that it's always in the middle of the summer. And I know that sounds crazy, but what I'm saying is like there are a lot less demands on your personal life. Or maybe that's just my mental model, and I don't let things bother me when I get to the summer. The summer is just my time to fly. It's my time to coast, and it'll always be that way. It's a free time of thinking and doing and being able to invest into yourself in a way that the winter and the fall kind of force you to invest in other things going on around you. That may or may not make sense. But what I'm trying to say is the summer is the time for you to do what you want to do without a whole lot of constraints on your time. And that's it. So now you see where I messed up. I have all these dates incorrectly. So I put a little bit of paint over them, but I can still see what's going on with the paint. I can still see the wrong numbers on the paint. So I just went back and I renumbered everything the right way, added in the extra days at the end, and I didn't even erase any of my ice creams. I'm going to keep those ice creams in there, and if I have anything on those days, I'll just write on top of them because duh, it's a journal. You can do that. Now I'm going to draw in my ice creams. So just different flavors. I don't even know what flavor I think that this is. It could be chocolate. Chocolate with maybe little chocolate chips in it. I think I had different things in mind and I was probably going to name them, but then I was just making it up as I went, like butterscotch, mint. I don't know what my purple one is going to be, but maybe some kind of like berry sherbet. But we're doing it for the love of the game at this point. Now you tell me in the comments, but I really like my calendar setup that I do for every month. It doesn't really change. It is just a 6x6 dot grid that I use for my calendar, and it doesn't really change. And because it doesn't change, it gives me a lot of area to kind of be creative in what I want to do in the white space around the calendar. Like I always try to make sure that the calendar is clear so that I have time for appointments or time for writing stuff in, just jot down little memories. But outside of that, I can decorate the margins with whatever I want to. Like again, this time I'm doing ice cream and this little strawberry. For this strawberry, I tried to, incorporate different colors, and I think it kind of worked. I think it worked. I put a little bit of pink in there. I actually cut open a strawberry to see, so I could see what it looked like, and that was my best approximation. So, on to this next little ice cream scoop. This is a different flavor, and I put like a little piece of wafer in it. And then I moved over into writing the month in like brush letter. So I tried to do a little color mixing. I think the colors that I chose were probably a little too close in color to make this really look different. You can kind of see it. It's kind of like this pinky pink into a more red pink. It didn't really blend the way that I thought it would in my mind, but there's always tomorrow and there's always a different chance. So now we're going over into my bill tracker. I don't normally have one of these in my journal, but I thought it was probably a good idea to add something that could help with keeping the dates up. And that was it. And then the scoop. So I'm going to be incorporating a page where I can just jot down random thoughts throughout the month. It doesn't have to, it could be like a stream of consciousness. Doesn't really matter, but it does give me the opportunity to be creative, to have a new spread in there, and just a place for recording things that are happening in that month. So, I'm thinking sometimes I'll probably even print like little pictures of me out doing things or something that was important for that month. I think it's important to be mindful of the passage of time, and this gives me space to honor the passage of time in my life. So now we're going to concentrate on this first week. Again, keeping this super duper basic because in the first week of July is the 4th of July. So I haven't planned it yet, but I already know that I'm going to be very busy this week and just getting together to have a cookout and just celebrate the 4th of July with my family. So for this spread, I didn't do a whole lot. I just put in the days and the dates, and that's going to be it. That's enough room for me to write stuff down. So now let's get into the flip through for this month. The summer is such an amazing time of year, and I feel like I captured it with my monthly theme this go around, especially with the ice cream and the smiles. It's just a little out there without being too over the top, and I think I just love it. Like I feel like it just captures the element of fun that goes with summer. So if you made it with me here this far, I appreciate it. I've had a flip through for pretty much every month but June. Sorry, June. But if you're here and you want to see more of this kind of content, go ahead, like, follow, share, subscribe so that I can be here next month. It really does help the algorithm put me out there to other people. Thank you for everyone who has liked and followed and subscribed so far. Every day I'm amazed at the sisterhood of the bullet journal community, and I'm so happy to be part of it. So again, here's to you guys, and I will see you all again next month. Have a great summer, have a great July. Bye y'all.